What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 1 6 Fix for another live unboxing. We are late. Normally, I blame Gigi. I got no one to blame but myself this time. So, I am your co host, Marco G, aka the Six Scale Scoundrel. And as I mentioned, no Gigi, but we've got our, second co host, really, at this point, Ben Thomas. Ben, how you doing today?
I am your co-host Marco G.
I am very good. Sorry, that thing turned on me all of a sudden. I'm very good. Thank you
It's
for
going to
having
happen.
me. Definitely appreciate it. Good to see everybody in the chat already. We're gonna have to have Bob Dylan on at some point. He started live streaming now, so we're gonna have to get
I
him
know
on.
he was he was saying, that was his one and only appearance, but he was too good in his first appearance. So yeah, absolutely looking forward to streaming with him. All right, let's see who we've got in the chat. We've got Ben Thomas. So I think that was in response to Gigi saying she hates that I got this one. So luckily she's not here to hate on it, but she is at a bachelorette party today. We got Tukathri. Tukathri, what's going on? Gigi. Oof, where do I start? Whoops, Gigi, go to your bachelorette party. Bob Dylan, oof, please start. No, we don't. I think the whole thing is this doesn't really fit my collection, right? Because I don't have any other one-offs. This is kind of my first, and I'm hoping first of a few, right? I've got that Muhammad Ali figure on order as well. So, but yeah, she's not too happy about me expanding out from the Marvel, DC, Star Wars. So, let's see who else we've got here. We got Universal Key. What's going on? We've got, let's see, Bob Dylan saying Gigi disabled his communications. That's a Natasha Romanoff level sneakiness. Don't put it past her. Yeah, she could pull some stuff like that. We've got who is Mike Jones? What's going on, Gold? How you doing? Uh, unpantsing. No, a live unboxing. Yeah, sorry, no unpantsing today, unfortunately. We got Loco Lou. What's going on? What's poppin', people? Phoebe does it the best. I think Lou, you've got to retire the catchphrase. I can't say it at all. I think it's Phoebe's catchphrase at this point. So sorry about it. We got Equan here. Wow, surprise pickup. Also found something in the wild you want. Oh, Equan. So not to bust Equan out here, Gigi will be coming for you, but he and I chatted about those NECA Ninja Turtles, right? The Secret of the Use 4-pack for the
So
1/12
cool.
scale, I believe. And yeah, so he kind of, I won't say he enabled me because I was already, considering it, but he was giving me some background. But I did tell him, the only other one that I'd consider is the Super Shredder from Secret of the Ooze. Ben, have you looked at any of these NECA figures? Is something you're considering at all?
You know what? I have. All of them are amazing. In fact, I actually watched the original Ninja Turtles movie just the other day, like last weekend, just as comfort food watching, right? And every time I watch those films, I immediately start looking at even the quarter scale turtles that have been released.
Those quarter
And
scale are
then of course,
nice.
well, and then like if I had a better spot for them in the house, I'd already own them. I mean, they're so nice and well priced, right? But the NECA figures, they as much as I love them, they're still a pretty big investment. They're still kind of expensive for how many of the line there is, right? And I
No doubt
think
about it.
that's my only deterrent is that I could get 10 NECA figures, or I could get a couple Hot Toys, and I think Hot Toys still win that battle. So
Absolutely. That's the tough math here. So Equan, yeah, let me know what you found for me, but appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, so Loco Lou's saying collect them all, bro. I know Loco Lou's big on the turtles here, so he's definitely been an inspiration. Okay. Lane Kramer in here. Lane, what's going on? Thank you for joining. Let's see. Loco's saying, grow your collection and buy a bigger house after. That might be the strategy at this point. We're dealing with California prices though. The housing prices here are insane. I know the same on the East Coast as well. But yeah, so bigger house maybe,
100%,
but I'd have to move. All
100%.
right, we're gonna get into a philosophical conversation here. But when Gigi and I were looking at houses, we're like, we could either live, close to our jobs and have a shorter commute, or live further and get a bigger house. And for me, it was an easy calculus to live closer, but buy a smaller property. So, Ben, is that
Interesting.
a consideration you all had?
We actually did the opposite, and so we moved out to a little spot called Crossfield, which is about 30 minutes outside of Calgary, Alberta, which is kind of the big city out here. And so we did the exact same thing. Now, I apologize. There is a little bit of construction going on outside right now, guys. So if you hear a little bit of tapping or anything, I apologize. I didn't know that was going on
Ben, if
today.
they're
But
joining our streams, they know that we're lo-fi. We always have
right,
tech issues. There's
every
always
time.
background noise. There's dogs
Construction,
barking.
yeah. So, but we did the same thing. Now it's been kind of a thorn in our side because now every time Shauna wants Indian food or something along those lines, right? We have to drive that 30 minutes back into town. So it's helped for money saving. I'll tell you that because it's like, well, maybe we should just make dinner.
There
So,
you go.
but we got a slightly bigger house out of the deal,
Hey,
which for me was a win. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's all down to personal preference. And Lou is saying, buy now, cry later. We've got Baby Girl 707. We've had some questions about you coming on After Dark. So let me know if you're interested at all. But we've got some
100%.
suggestions for her to hop on. So let's see. Mark P. What's going on, Mark P? Thank you for joining. We've got The Collector. What's going on? I wish I could see the emojis, the emoticons, but let's see. Equan saying, I love my quarter scale turtles, no regrets. Yeah, those are beautiful. Ben, do you know how much those normally run?
So in Canada, at least, they're $200. Pretty evenly $200 everywhere I've seen them.
Per piece or
Which
for all four?
per piece? No, per
Okay,
piece.
okay.
And so I think States pricing, that's probably in the 160 to 170 range. So not terrible. Still way cheaper than a Hot Toys, and honestly, they're insane quality. Like the freckles and the spots that they have on them, and their shells look really cool. The weapons look really cool. I'm gonna get convinced to buy them. I just know it at some point. I just got to figure out a way to
There you
display
go.
it.
Absolutely. No, I definitely have had my eye, but for now, the 112 scale is going to work. And since, these unboxings always get derailed with other topics, now that we're talking about housing and transportation, which is my nerd out, I nerd out on that stuff. The Collector saying, live in Indiana, Texas and Tennessee are also good options. He says his entire basement is all his, and he has 4 bedrooms. Yeah, that's the dream right there, honestly.
Dude,
So
that is the dream. That
I
is
know.
the dream.
Every time we watch Joanna Gaines, do you guys watch, what is it called? I forget what their show is called, but it's she and her husband that flip houses.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one. I don't think.
So anyways, Gigi's always convinced, like, we got to move to Texas. Every time we watch that show, she's like, we got to go out. So yeah, we're definitely moving out of California. Sounds appealing when you talk about 4 bedrooms, basement to yourself. Come on. Let's see. Brenton say, Fixer Upper. Thank you for that, Brenton. All right, awesome. I didn't realize he's got a few passions in life, Venom and Fixer Upper apparently. But thank you for joining, Brenton. There you go. And Bob Dylan saying Fixer Upper. All right, we got some Fixer Upper heads in here. Okay, last question I will take here, and then, I have not been I haven't been technologically savvy enough to figure out how to make Ben an admin or a blue wrench yet. So I think we're going to have him, read out some comments, and I could always hop back and forth between them. But let's see, Equan is saying 150 for the turtles. He got them for $100 when they first came out. So
Wow.
yeah, he's
that's a good deal.
I know Equan's got a stock of one to rock, one to stock for a few of them there. So
He's got
All
a
right,
turtle
Ben.
guy.
That's right. So Ben, maybe before I start the live unboxing, let's maybe talk about your love for Back to the Future, because one of the reasons I specifically wanted you on here, because you're a big Back to the Future fan like myself, and Gigi doesn't get it. She just recently saw the first one and was like, it was okay. I'm like, okay, if this is just okay to you. You don't know what you're talking about. So tell me your
100%.
background on the franchise.
Dude, for me, Back to the Future was, I think, one of my first forays into just time travel concept. When I was a kid, it blew my mind, just the concept of being able to kind of go back and, back to the past, and what you do in the past can have an impact on your future. And it made me like, it just gave me this creative concept that I just applied to so many things. And back in the day when we actually played with action figures and stuff like that, I mean, that would be part
Don't
of the
lie.
theme,
You're on
the
Pose Wars
story,
tonight.
right?
You're playing with action
I know, I'm
figures
still playing
bro.
with figures.
Come on.
Yeah. But I loved the time travel concept, and it made me explore all of those different time travel movies that are out there. Right now, I know that people have picked holes in the time travel kind of concept from Back to the Future a little bit, but Zach from Collecting Weekly always says it. The rule of cool. I think the way that they did it was awesome. For me, the first movie I think has the most nostalgia to it because it's the OG film. But when I think back to, being a kid and watching it over and over and over again, it was actually Back to the Future 2 that I'd say that I probably watched the
Yeah,
most.
no doubt. That's the coolest one.
Exactly. And I think it was because it had almost that multiversal concept where, Marty gets to see himself, but from the previous film up on stage. And, he's actually a character still in the background of that. So, if you were able to turn the camera around Marty while he's on stage playing guitar, you might actually see his other self out in the crowd. Like, how cool is that, right? And so,
Incredible.
as I said, I just fangirled over Back to the Future constantly. And then, when the, Back to the Future 2 had came out, I used to love the idea of the hoverboard, right? I always thought, how cool would it be to have a real hoverboard? Like, is that something that we might get in the future, And I mean, they've come out with these things called hoverboards now, which I'm pretty sure just look like they're hovering, but they're on wheels, so it's not as exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, come on. Air Mags and the hoverboard was like the unbeaten combo of the
100%.
coolest things possible.
100%. And I mean, you got to see yourself in Marty a little bit as well, right? As a character, I wasn't always the most popular kid in school when I was young, right? Like, and so just like Marty, he has these challenges through school and challenges with bullies, and Biff, he's always the bully throughout all the movies, which I love the way that they did that. I would say, not to spoil anything for today's show, but I would say that the third movie is still probably my least favorite. Just because it felt a little rinsed and repeated from what we saw in the first two films, but still some great stuff in there with the train and the Western stuff. So yeah, absolutely loved it. I'm stoked that you brought me on today, and I've got this figure on the way. I've got I put this guy in a pretty long extended payment plan because I didn't want to pull the trigger on him too quick, but when the DeLorean released, I was like, yeah, I need to have a Marty in my collection if I'm going to get a DeLorean. So
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see you unbox it, so we can make sure that I did well in my purchasing.
Of course, we definitely made the right decision. So you're saying you're getting the Marty, you're getting the Doc, and the DeLorean. You're all in on this line.
You know what? The Doc, I don't love the face on the Doc. I don't know if that's a terrible thing to say or not.
Great Scott, come on, he's
right. It's definitely an iconic face for him in the movies, right? I think it's one of those things that I need to see more in hand footage before I pull the trigger on it. I definitely have got the Marty coming, as I said, and I'll have that with the DeLorean. And even though the DeLorean's that I'm getting is technically from the second film, it makes a quick appearance at the end of that first film, right at the what kind of almost like an end credit scene. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think I can make it. I think I can make it work. And as I said, you know what? Like I tend to fall for the hype. So I think once we see Doc get released, I think I'm probably gonna.
Yeah, it's going to be incomplete set without him, right? But that's definitely 100%. One you could wait on. I would assume. And for me, if they release the Back to the Future Part 1 and Part 2 figures at the same time, it would have been an easy decision to go with Part 2, just because again they're cooler. Part 1 to me is a better movie. I think that no one would argue that. But just like you said, the technological parts, the the really really freaky parts of Part 2 really stood out to me as a kid. So I've got a special place in my heart.
In terms of figure wise, what do you like better though? That like the Doc with the white radiation suit, or do you like that more yellow futuristic vibe suit that he shows up with in the second film?
Yeah, futuristic look for both, right? For Doc and for Marty, right? I think that's just 100%. That look just sticks out to me. But that being said, the life preserver on this version of Marty, it's one of those figures again that the Part 2 it's just a way cooler. The rule of cool, right? It's just a way cooler figure in my mind. But I'm really excited to add this one because it's just so unlike other figures that I have in my collection. So
100%. Well, let's get opening it. I gotta see it. I'm.
You want me to whip it out? Is that what you're saying, Ben? Relax. All right, come on.
We're on camera in front of all these people.
Let's do it. Let me just. I'm gonna stop the camera here, and I'm gonna bring the mic over here so we can chat. So give me 1 second, and I'm gonna have to move Pancake as well. And also, we got a few more people popping in here. We've got H Green. What's going on? We got Carlos in here. Carlos is saying, since Queen Studios is making the DeLorean, if they make one from the first movie, would you get that? Would you get that over the Hot Toys one, even if it's more expensive? Ben, I'll let you take that, and then I'll go into it.
I'm glad you highlighted that comment because I think that's an amazing question. I don't know. I feel like I would want to. I think that's the short answer. I think Queen Studios still has a little bit of time to prove themselves in their 1 6-figure line. I think if the Joker comes out as good as as good as that prototype is shown as, or even better, that may honestly tip the scales for me just in general when it comes to Queen Studios 1 6-figure lines. And if the quality is that much more superior, I'll just take more time to budget for the figures that I know that I want in the collection, right? It would be unfortunate to buy the Hot Toys one and then see the Queen Studios and then immediately want to jump out.
Yeah.
Because I already did that just honestly with the DX11 Joker 2 years ago, like we said on the last stream, right? I mean, 2 years ago I spent $1,000 on that guy, and now Queen Studios has come out with their Rooted 2-pack, and I just spent another $1,000 on that. So, you gotta find where that line in the sand is, but. I would say if it's superior, my goal with my Hot Toys collection is, my 1/6 collection is always to have the best representation of every figure. So if it's the best representation, yeah, there's a good chance I'd sell this one and move on, 100%.
Interesting. Okay. So for me, it's definitely, I don't have the space for these vehicles already. So it's definitely like a value consideration. And so, for instance, the Tumbler is one that I've always wanted to add. Love that we're getting a second shot at it. And the price, consideration is not terrible. I get it's like mostly plastic, but, for something that I don't necessarily have the space for, I'm like, I can still make some sacrifices, figure out something when it comes. I'm really scared of the Queen Studios if they go really high quality, and it's like, not a license for the United States. By the time that gets to us, it could be, $2,000, if not more. So that scares me. So I think the Hot Toys, for around a little under $850 is perfect for me right now. And we'll just see what Queen does with the Batmobile and then with the DeLorean. But yeah, I'm a little scared. I don't know that I can be spending thousands upon thousands on vehicles.
Well, and I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself in terms of excitement for the vehicles yet from Queen Studios. I mean, they're really well known for their statue game so far. I mean, they already have a presence in the market. I think that their 1/6 figures are going to be just as good, if not better. But vehicles are definitely a different beast. Their construction, what goes into just planning it and figuring out all the technical parts. I mean, I've watched Jazz Inc. or Yost from Jazz Inc. talk about that, and just some of the challenges he's had on scaling things down and making things look really realistic, but also having the right materials for certain things so it doesn't fall apart in shipping or once it's in your display, right? There's so much that goes into it. And so it's awesome that Queen is saying, yeah, we're thinking about releasing some vehicles, but again, that for me still feels like it's a ways down the road before I'd be willing to commit to that. And in the meantime, we've always said Hot Toys especially, they often at least hold their retail value. You might not make money necessarily off them, but at the very least you can likely get your money back if you decide you want to sell and swap out at some point. So I'm kicking the ball down the road a little bit when it comes to Queen Studios vehicles for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think we got a little bit of time to decide. So let's see what they come up with here. So we've also got Riley in the house. Riley, what's going on? And then we've got Andre. Andre saying he's not the biggest fan of the films, but he's getting the DeLorean and Doc and Marty. Iconic 80s greatness. Yeah, that's true. Even if you're not huge fans of the film, that's going to be a great threesome to have. So, well, I'd better be careful with that term threesome. But all right, so let me hop on over here, and I'm going to start unboxing this bad boy. Give me a second. I'm going to move my mic and everything. And then if you want to read any other comments, I know you can't highlight them, but you can at least go through them, I guess.
That's awesome. Bob Dylan says, I look forward to drinking your Queen fanboy tears. Very nice. We got H Green in the chat as well. Hey, H Green. Riley Reviews is in the chat. Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming by. That's awesome. Been loving everything on everybody's channels lately has been so good. There's been so many great new creators coming out. I honestly don't have enough time in the day. I don't have enough time in the day to watch everybody's streams.
It's true, Ben.
So good.
You hearing me okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. So there's like a 50-50 chance that my phone is going to tip over here. So if it happens, just roll with me here. But so let's highlight the box here. Obviously that beautiful box art. The back, we've got the Back to the Future. So yeah, this is, just really getting me hyped off the box alone, which normally I don't dwell on too often, but this is just kind of a unique one.
It's one of those boxes that I think you actually could have out on display. I mean, if you're a big Back to the Future fanboy, like it still looks cool.
Absolutely. And we're gonna do a little ASMR here, but if the sounds get too crazy, just let me know and we'll
Gotta love that sliding cardboard sound.
Yeah, exactly. Always gets me hyped. Ooh, I just got the feels. Just so we got the DeLorean here. I love that they're just putting the DeLorean in your face. Like, hey, if you have this figure, you might as well get the DeLorean, right?
100%.
Yeah, no, it makes too much sense here. So I will say I got this figure from, a main distributor, and I know they've been having issues with figures coming used and opened already. So it was something that I was nervous about, but because you can only get it from them, right? It's exclusive to them. Kind of had no other choice but to go with them. So utilized some points and and got this bad boy. But it seems like it's not a used figure, and the brown shipper box came in pretty rough shape, but it looks like everything's okay for now. So
Was it on the like? Did you say it was on the Seconds website or? Like
no, sorry, it was just on the website in general. But there's been a lot of folks. Well, let me not say a lot, because sometimes the worst issues get highlighted to the top. But there have been folks who have been getting open figures from this group here. So it's just always something that I'm scared of. But
I'd be worried of that as well, especially if Shauna receives it in the mail first. So.
oh gosh, yeah, she'll open it, play with it, have her coworkers play with it.
Yeah, did you open this first, or?
Exactly. She did have a point with that Deadpool, though. She did pay for it, so I think she was right to open it and do what she wanted 100%. With it.
100%.
All right, so let's get this bad boy. All right, so clamshell open. All right, so I might tease here, and let me start with the accessories.
Now, did you open this at all? Because you received this, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, right? Have you opened it at all, or has it been sitting on your desk just looking at you?
Yeah. I like to just have that off the cuff, first impression. So, as I mentioned with the Golden Armor Wonder Woman, that thing sat on my floor over here for like weeks, and I was like, I really want to open it, but I want to make content out of it, right? Like I want to get my reaction, which is important, but Gigi's reaction first of all on that one. So. This one I know she'd hate already, so there was no point even having her in the unboxing.
At some point in the stream, really quick, you're going to have to tell us why she hates this figure, or why she didn't want you to get this.
Well, yeah, so I think I alluded to it a bit, where it's just because it doesn't fit with the rest of my collection. She's like, where are you going to put it, right? Because
gotcha.
I'm like, I'm like an OCD collector where I have very like definitive, I think similar to you, like, okay, here's my Star Wars cabinet, here's my Marvel cabinet, DC, they all kind of line up. Mm-hmm. So this one doesn't really have a spot yet. So she's just like, well, yeah, why would you get it? And also I'm sure she's fearful that it's going to lead to me getting more, one-off figures and then wanting the DeLorean and the dock, which of course is going to happen, right? Like I plan on getting those. So, so those are her main objections. First of all, this backpack. So I missed out on the Spider-Man Deluxe, the Homecoming Deluxe, but I've looked at, like third-party backpacks to maybe throw with the Spider-Man figure, and this is awesome. Mm-hmm. Like it's got really great detail and the pleather on the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is sweet. This is worth the price. Oh, go ahead.
Does it have any zippers at all, or?
It does. Yeah, so it's got some little zippers here on the side.
Nice.
Kind of afraid to mess with it because I know sometimes these bad boys break, but yeah, so you can actually open the backpack up and there's a little padding inside of there. So
that is cool. I think I would almost be tempted. I would almost be tempted to pull the padding out so that he could use it as almost a more functioning backpack.
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
Even I think it was one of the the Miles Morales figure that comes with the cat, the bodega cat, right? That's awesome.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. He comes with enough accessories where you could really kind of put it in there. So we've got the camcorder, which I think for me is going to be a must in the display. Like it's a really beautifully sculpted and painted piece. Like this shit is awesome.
I'm digging how the lens on the front actually picks up some coloration there as well. It looks like a glass lens on the front, which is really neat.
It really does. Funky. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm noticing myself grinning like an idiot over here because this is a cool little figure, right? Like it's just.
Hey, that's why you waited 2 days to open it for us. This is the real gut check, everybody.
That's right. And there's something to that too, right? Like waiting. You haven't gotten a figure in a while. For me, it's been maybe a month since I actually got one in. So it's like my body was ready to receive a figure. So, the skateboard. Did you have tech decks when you were a kid, Ben? Were you
Yes.
one of those kids playing with those?
Oh yeah.
You know, I never got into those, but they were so
Yeah,
obnoxious. Like,
they were fun. I only had about five. I had about five over time, and I think I got them in my stocking over a couple of different Christmases, right? So, but I just ended up putting them with 1/12 scale type figures, right? So they look kind of cool.
yeah, that's
Equan
cute.
says here, Marco, if it was shipped with the original brown shipper, you should be fine. Sometimes they ship figures without a brown shipper in their own box and label. That's a bit of a red flag.
Wow, that would be so dirty
So,
if you bought a brand new figure and it didn't even
100%.
come with the brown shipper. I guess that kind of makes me sad for like less shrewd collectors, right? Like someone that maybe that's their only hot toy. They don't even
Yeah.
know how it's supposed to come.
Well, and then he even said here, like, I got a mall without the shipper, and it was full of cat hair and was missing the lightsaber. So it's like, ooh, I mean, some people are really allergic to cats. Can you imagine opening a
Yeah.
Hot Toys box and it's
Oh
got
my
cat hair in
god.
it?
I would become
Terrible.
a Karen instantly. You know,
100%.
everyone that I've ever talked to with their customer service representation is always really nice. So, you know, be nice to your customer service reps, but I would be firm and insist that they, send me a new figure. And I'm sure they would.
Oh, 100%. They would. They would have
Yeah,
to, I
yeah,
think.
they take care of you for sure. Okay, so let's bust open some more accessories here.
Now, is it a multi-layer, or is it everything that you're seeing on the top?
Yeah, it's just one, so it only comes with one tray. So yeah, there's nothing on the back here. So yeah, it's all compiled into one nice, neat package. So we've got, oh, this is awesome too. Okay, so this is pretty chintzy here, but we've got the it's cardboard, but it's the newspaper about the clock tower, right? So that's a great touch. And then obviously
So,
the number on the back. Let's see if we can focus that. That's a great touch. But I know people were saying the newspaper that comes with the classic suit Spider-Man is like
it's
really
actually like a
detailed
newspaper,
and nice.
right? Yeah. You
Yeah,
can read
this
it
is
and everything. I think there's articles on it and stuff,
this
which is
they
cool.
skimped out on. It's just freaking a little piece of cardboard, but still cool that we got it.
I like that at least it is cardboard, so it won't necessarily degrade too quickly. All right, it'll
That's a
hold
good
up for a
point.
while.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, Ben. We've got his watch. Wow. So it's going to be really, really hard to see the detail on the watch, but let's see. But it is a beauty. Like it is really freaking nice. And Ben, if I'm getting too close to the mic, tell me to back the F off, please. But
No, you're decent.
yeah, so the watch is
Pretty cool.
beautiful. Let's see. We've got headphones in the cassette case. Awesome. Awesome.
That is very, very
Does
cool.
this belong to Darth Vader from the planet? Where does he say he's
Vulcan.
from? It's the Star Trek
From the
reference, right?
from the planet Vulcan.
Well, there you go, planet
Yeah.
Vulcan. Yeah, this again, really, really nice detailing on this. This might be going to Star-Lord actually. We'll see. But I know it's
Oh,
not a
that's a good
perfect one-for-one match, but I
Does
bought
Star Lord
the
not come with his own?
the one that I got. So I got the Infinity War version. I had been looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 version, right, which comes with the cassette, it comes with the Baby Groot, the long jacket, and I think the vest and like some other nice accessories. But the Star Lord was like under $200 shipped from Hong Kong. I was like, for that price, like I'll just buy the other accessories if I come across them. So I bought a
100%.
Baby Groot for, I probably spent too much, but even at the end of the day, I think I wasn't into the figure too much. So
That's fair.
wasn't in for it too much. Okay, here's what everyone's been waiting for. Ooh, this is a chonky fellow. He's beefy. So
Would you say it's heavy?
Yeah, he's heavy. He's actually like feels like a little statue. Definitely something that you'd find at your grandma's house. In Spanish, it's like your little grandma, your abuelita. Like my
Abuelita.
abuelita definitely had like these type of, almost like a Hummel
So-
type of.
In with the
sculpting on
spoons
this.
collection.
That's right. That's right. But that being said, like he's not terrible, to be honest. Like he's serviceable. I know he looked like absolute shit in most of the promo images and most of the stuff I've seen, but I think he'll do the trick. Like
I have some people compared him to melting butter, which after they said that, I had a hard time unseeing it. But I think
Yeah.
if you don't, if you're not actively watching the film ooh, that's a creaky noise. If you're not actually watching the film and comparing him apples to apples, I think it's like you said, it's definitely passable.
Yeah.
There are other accessories that I wish the guy had come with. I know the original release of this figure, he came with the guitar, right, instead of the Einstein, and that guitar was beautiful. And so, for the Johns of the world, like at Collecting Weekly, who don't like reissues, I think that just the fact that original release has the guitar really still maintains that OG figure value, and makes this one a little bit different. If you want an Einstein in your collection, then this is a good option.
Absolutely, Ben. No, that's a good point. And I feel like I'm okay with that trade-off. Like, yeah, I missed out on the original guy. You kind of preserve the integrity of the original release, and you give us something different. I wish that something different was, a little cooler than Einstein, but I love dogs. So, so the
How's the
sculpting
hand
on the
painting
hands,
on this?
really nice. Like, just to be honest, just a standard Hot Toys paint. Like, he's a little bit darker skinned than I'd prefer. Probably is a little bit of a Latino Michael J. Fox, but besides that, I think that the hand sculpting is really nice. You could really use these for pretty much any figure. I'd say it's like pretty close to like I'm looking at my Thor from Infinity War. The painting is pretty similar to it. So this is the you could hold a lot of things in that hand. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's that. So yeah, so overall looking good. All right, let's get to the real deal here, and let's look at Marty himself. So yeah, I think the head sculpt is pretty decent, Ben. Like, it's not killer. It's definitely not like one of their best. But I see Michael J. Fox in there. Like, I think it's pretty damn good.
I still think that this one has a bit of an edge when it comes to the OG release.
Okay.
I do. When I've seen them compared apples to apples, I think this guy still looks a little bit more on point. But I agree. One of the reasons I actually held off on this figure for as long as I did was because I wasn't totally convinced that the head sculpt was on point.
Yeah.
And I needed to see more in-hand video with it. And obviously I've finally pulled the trigger. I succumbed to that to that pressure. But was that Pancake in the background? She wants to know where her mom is.
She's protecting our house so valiantly. So what convinced you that the head sculpt was actually on point? You saw a few unboxing and were like, oh yeah, it looks good.
I saw a few more videos, and I think again when it's standing in its display on its own terms, I think it's going to look good. I think anybody that's not necessarily a crazy Hot Toys collector like the majority of us in the collection, I think if you had a guest over that just likes Back to the Future, maybe they don't actually figure collect, but they just think they like the movie, I think they'd see that and immediately be like, oh, it's Marty from Back to the Future. How cool is that? And so
exactly.
That's really what gets me, I think, is the nostalgia. I think when you see it, you just know who it is immediately. And then that the life preserver and all of it, right? All of the features it's coming with, I think is very cool.
And definitely under certain lightings here, like it's spot on. So that's the funny thing about Hot Toys, right? There are plastic bits, but you get the right lighting and certain figures can just pop, right? I say like the Ray is definitely one of those figures. And this Gal Gadot, Golden Armor Wonder Woman, where it's like, I wasn't completely convinced, but you get it under the lighting. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm seeing that likeness spot on. So let's move on to maybe talk about the sneakers here, because I'm a sneakers guy.
Yeah.
Really great detail there. So let me get that to focus, and let's see if we can not get it washed out. Yeah, it's gonna be tough because it's white, but they look good. They look really good.
Does he have white socks on as well there, or?
Yeah, he's got some little real nerdy little mid gray socks. So yeah, so they're kind of like an off-white, I'd say.
Flashing them ankles.
Them ankles, those non-existent ankles. So all right, so lower body. All right, let's maybe go to the suspenders, right? So you can get that fresh out of bed, mom hitting on you look with the suspenders. I think this is what he wears at the dining room table, right?
Right. How funny of a display would that be if if a third party company comes out with a Lorraine and you set him up in the figure where he's in bed and she's just hanging out over top of him
with his Calvin Kleins on. Oh man, now I need that all of a sudden.
100%.
So yeah, the suspender look it looks good. It looks good.
Equan's asking, do the jeans feel like a denim material?
Not quite, Equan. They're a little bit lighter than a denim material. They're almost like a canvasy type. It's like a lightweight canvas. It's serviceable though. Like the look is definitely of denim, both on the pants and on the sleeves of the jacket. Like it definitely comes across looking the part, but in terms of feel, it's just not thick enough. So
I think that's probably why he asked, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Like from this side of the camera looking in, it 100% looks like denim, which is really cool. And again,
yeah,
most of the time we don't let random people feel up our figures, right? And so I think anybody would walk past and go like, that looks bang on, right? So we've got Mario in the chat. He says, fresh out of bed and mom hitting on you. Wow, that's a way to start the morning. And then we've also got Shauna in the chat. She says they're jeggings.
they are jeggings actually, Shauna. That's the perfect description of them. They are
Very nice.
100% jeggings. We're going to give the people what they want now. We're going to talk about the butt, and pretty disappointing, I'm not going to lie. I don't remember Michael J. Fox's sitch, and I don't know if it's screen accurate, but it's pretty pancaked butt over here. So sorry, everyone.
Very nice.
No cakes today. So that's awesome. Mario, Shauna, what's going on? Thank you for joining. So let me see what else we might highlight here. So figure looks great. Very, very solid. Ben, do you know how you're going to pose yours yet?
I don't yet. I think probably with the skateboard, I like him in kind of a kneeling position with the skateboard, maybe the headphones on, just kind of like at the beginning of the movie where he's either wheeling out the door to get to school or kind of, once he's got to the school and he kind of kicks that board up. Yeah. I also like the idea of him even just, one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when he, he takes a look at that, at the newspaper with Jennifer's number on the back, and then it goes boom right into Huey Lewis in the news, right? The power of love as he's getting home. Pretty cool. So that for me is an iconic scene in the movie too. So
I like that. Okay. I'm thinking kind of the same actually. So great minds there. I will highlight the base in that it's kind of the old school Hot Toys, oval style base. Got Back to the Future. So I think the speculation, the reason behind them doing this is that it would go well with if you had the other Back to the Future figures. It would be kind of plug and play. But I don't know that it's consistent amongst all three movies, right? Like I think every movie comes with a different style base from what I saw. Do you know, Ben?
I think you're right. I do think you're right. For me, I don't ever display my figures with the base. So I think for me, if anything, it's a nice to have. And I know for the figure collectors out there that do collect the bases, I think if you missed out on the original Marty, but you ended up getting a dock, it would be cool if you display your figure with the base, that there's still a little bit of consistency there. Right.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and I like that because it's I want to call it a retro figure because it's a retro movie. I like that the figure base has a bit of a retro flair to it. It doesn't look like a 2022, figure base. It looks something like you would have got, 10 years ago, which is kind of fun. So
yeah, that's a really solid point. So
Mark P asks in the chat, why are you looking at the man's butt? I think that's for Gigi's sake.
Come on, Mark B. Is this your first unboxing? Come on, yeah. This is every figure we got to look at those cheeks. So
we need to rate the level of pancake in the jeans. 100%.
Yeah, this is pretty low. This is probably like 5 out of 10 pancakes. It's pretty sad to see. What I'm going to do, since this was kind of the end of the box, I'm going to hop over here so we can highlight some comments and keep chatting. So I'm going to leave this here. Go ahead, Ben.
No, that's awesome. I was just taking a look through here. So. Equan says, hey, Badfish, work on those Kegel exercises. Don't know what he's talking about there. I must have missed something in the chat. There's so much, Equan says, there's so much movie facts with Back to the Future, reshooting the entire movie, recast with the girlfriend, lawsuits, and Marty's dad. It's true. There is. Do you guys in the chat, like, if you could have an obscure Back to the Future figure, would it be, Marty's dad? Would it be, a Biff in 1/6 scale Hot Toys version? Like, what would you guys look for other than
wants a George
Marty
McFly, though. Come on.
Hey, man. Hey, you put him up in the tree, right?
Yeah, true. I'm your density.
I'm your density.
Come on.
Or get him in the hanging. I know it's not him, but putting him in the hanging upside down pose that they had him in the second movie to get away with not actually having the actor in the movie. Yeah. Hilarious.
Oh man. What are some other standout scenes for you from the first Back to the Future? There's so many for me, but I'm just going to say one is, come on, Daddy-O. Come on, that's like a classic line.
100%.
Yeah.
All the times he says heavy, I like, as I said, I love that. What is this heavy? Why is it? I can't remember how he says it, but it's like, is everything in the future like more heavy or more dense? Or awesome.
Oh man. Yeah. So really, I gotta say, really, really happy I picked this one up, Ben. I'm excited for you to get it in hand. I
Hmm.
think it's just going to be an awesome. It's going to be just make for an awesome display here. So
How do you feel about the sculpted hair? So, I mean, now with Queen Studios coming out with some rooted hair options, and I think rooted hair has been on the tip of the so many collectors' tongues lately. For so long, I avoided anything rooted hair because I was like, I remember the old school Barbies. There's no way I'm gonna be able to futz that to make it look good, right? But sometimes I found with sculpted hair figures that you actually lose some of that detail as well. It's more kind of sculpted hair, but you lose some of that coloration. With this Marty, it's a little hard to see just how he is. Like, does he have much in the way of different coloration throughout the hair? Like, can or is
yeah,
it pretty much a solid color?
it is a solid color, but the way that Hot Toys paints a lot of these sculpts is the way that the light hits it. It kind of gives you some gradients in the hair. So
Shines.
I would say, like, it definitely comes across as him, having different color within the hair. So I'm pretty happy with the sculpt overall, both of the face and the hair. I think it really holds up in hand.
Mario helped here. He says, the quote was, "Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with Earth's gravitational pull?" Best line in the movie,
That's
100%.
that is hilarious. And I see Riley calling Mario the Beard God. I'm assuming he was calling Mario and not me Beard God, or Ben, but we're getting there. All right, we're following our brother
Definitely
Mario's
not
lead.
me. I'm third in line when it comes to
We're
Mario and
getting
you.
there, Ben. All right, work in progress. Okay. So no,
No,
that's
it's
an awesome
interesting.
line.
It's interesting with this figure, and I know some people have talked about it as well. Is on the box, obviously in the box art, we were taking a look at that at the beginning of the video. You see Mario stepping out of the DeLorean, and he's got his sunglasses. He's holding up his sunglasses on the
Yeah.
top of his head, right? This figure doesn't come with the sunglasses, right?
Damn it! It
Didn't see those
doesn't come
there,
with the sunglasses, right? Okay, I was actually looking for that in the box. I
which is
forgot.
interesting.
So
And I think that's something that came with the original release as well. So I think he had the sunglasses as well as the guitar. It seems like they've abandoned those two accessories for the sake of the pooch, right? But
yeah,
interesting. I think for me, I think 1/6 scale sunglasses are probably easy enough to find on the aftermarket or on the secondary, or even like an Etsy or one of those. So if I get this guy, especially with the DeLorean, and I want to kind of recreate that scene, I'll 100% be picking up some aftermarket sunglasses.
yeah, absolutely. I think that those a pack of sunglasses and the guitar would be awesome to add. So. Badfish is talking about that he does like rooted hair sometimes. Badfish, maybe if you can give us some examples of figures with good rooted hair, because as I mentioned, the Golden Armor Wonder Woman is the only one I have and wasn't super happy with it. Interested to see what Queen does with their Joker. I'm like scared and excited at the same time. So we'll see. Let me go through some of these comments here. So Riley's saying he's getting there himself. I can vouch. Yeah, Riley's growing a little something. I've been very impressed every time I see him. It's coming out here. Mario saying a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into this beard. I bet, Mario, that thing is a work of art for sure. H Green is saying, I wish I could move my beard hair to the top of my head. I think someone could. I think LeBron did that actually. So if there's if you got enough money, there's a way to do anything at this point. Rooted hair was really popular in the 80s. Okay. 1/6 figure focus. Shane, what's going on, man? Thank you for joining. To quote Obi-Wan, hello there. Yeah, let's go. Thank you for coming in here. I need to stop saying coming in, but working on it. Let's see. Let's see. Shane also says, apparently there's a 2-pack rooted hair Joker coming. Apparently, I have heard that. I don't know. No one in the community is really talking about it though. So I wish some folks would start making some content on this rooted hair Joker so we could find out what's going on, man. All right, let me vent here really quick. So obviously we're in the Collecting Weekly Patreon, and Eddie yesterday was getting a little bit annoyed at folks talking about Queen Studios. Number one, the controversy over the 3-day window, and then I think it was the Gandalf, right? They may have used an actual picture of Ian McKellen for their teaser of the 1/6 figure. And so he was like, there's more important things in the world. Like, people need to stop getting so worked up. And what I was trying to convey was like, Eddie, this is all a distraction. Getting fake mad at a company is still part of the distraction, right? Yes, there are way more serious stuff or things going on in this world. It's just all part of the hobby, and you staying on an app and arguing with all of us, because we just enjoy doing that, right? Like, it's just all part of having fun with your fellow collectors. So Yeah,
Well,
we get
and I
annoyed
think
with one another. But go ahead,
there's
Ben.
sorry, I think there's an element of keeping the company honest as well, right? And so they are really expensive figures, whether they're Hot Toys or Queen Studios offerings. And so if you're gonna display a figure or something that's coming out, if you're gonna kind of release an image of something that you wanna have as a 1/6 option, I want to see what the figure looks like. I don't want to see a picture of Ian McKellen because I already know what he looks like. I've seen the movies, right? I want to know what your figure is going to look like, what your prototype looks like. And so I think people getting upset by that, if that's the case, is really just more just trying to keep the company honest, especially since
Yeah.
they are really trying to take the limelight away from Hot Toys and stuff, which is fair. They should. I mean, if their offerings are going to be better, they're going to end up winning the game anyways. They don't need to show us images that aren't actually the product that they're
It's
going
an
to release.
unforced error at this point, right? Just wait until
Yeah,
the figure's ready to show.
for sure. But I agree with you in the sense that it's a positive distraction, right?
Yeah.
Even in the video I put on my channel yesterday, just about Moon Knight and lit eyes versus non-lit eyes. I felt disappointed that he has lit eyes
Mhm.
because if those lights are turned off, I feel like the figure will look a little dead in my collection. Having said that, it sounds like negativity. Totally not. I'm so excited for that figure, dude. I'm gonna
Right.
100% get him in 2 years when he comes out.
Yep, absolutely.
So
I think you're right. Keeping the companies honest, like all of our nitpicks, we're unboxing this. I'm so excited to get this figure, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to, highlight what I don't like about it. So that hopefully it's broadcast and enough of us make noise that, for the next time they do something, they don't do it anymore. So for this one, I have a hard time finding many flaws, but, as Mario highlights here, this one not having the sunglasses, like we talked about earlier, it's a bit disappointing, but again, it kind of preserves the rarity of the other one. So it's a give and take here. But let me go through some of the comments. Equan saying, does Hot Toys Chewbacca count as rooted hair? It comes with an official Hot Toys comb. That one comes with a comb. I didn't know. I've seen, I forget which Chewbacca release, but some pretty horrendous images of one of the particular releases. So
I can picture people, with a blow dryer and their Chewbacca with its comb, in the bathroom, like, styling its hair.
I never thought I'd come to this, but here I am combing a Chewbacca's hair. Badfish is saying Azimuth Gandalf isn't bad, but I think it's maybe like 90% sculpted, then 5% rooted. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm really interested to see a figure with kind of that hybrid approach as well, to see if that works.
Because I think the Legolas also had that. I think Dean from Collecting Weekly was talking about his Legolas and having the sculpted portion on the side, but then the rooted on the top. And I actually thought that looked pretty good, at least in some of the photos that I've seen of it. So
Absolutely. 1/6 Figure Focus is saying, Ben, that display. Yeah, Ben's display is awesome. And for those who are unfamiliar, you've got which lights there on the back of your display?
yeah, so these are all IKEA Kallax shelves from IKEA, and then they've got the Philips Hue light strips on the back. So the white one that you see in the background there, that's two different light strips on the back, and then the one below me here is also Philips Hue, and the
Excuse
bulb
me?
above me on this side is Philips Hue. And so the cool thing about them all is that they all connect to each other through your phone, right? And so any color you can possibly imagine, these lights can do. So super fun to play with. Honestly, I'll come down here and just change the lighting in the display, and even for that brings the poses that I might have had for weeks back to life again for me, just in some different lighting. So yeah, thanks.
That's awesome.
Thanks for the shout out there, Shane. But appreciate
Yeah,
it.
such a unique display too, Ben. I know, like we've seen a lot of different ones, but I don't know a lot of folks that are displaying it just like that. So really cool stuff. Mario is saying, need to stop saying "let's go." He hates that so much. He probably just unjoined the stream the moment I said that. But let's see. Ben saying to give Marco a run for his money with that display. Yeah, we talked about it before, but Shane did copy me on my DTOFs and in the lighting there. So no, total joke. Actually, that's the way Shane and I kind of connected in the community. Was I saw his beautiful DTOF display and sent him a message, and he sent me like a 6-minute long video of how exactly he wired it up, and such a good guy. So everyone's saying hello to the beard god, Mario. Yep. I someday hope to be a beard god, but got a long way to go here. So Mario saying Eddie's still annoyed. In other news, water wet. Yeah, again, he loves arguing, and like it's part of a distraction, right? Like some people just love having an argument over figures. And so
Hey, you know what?
I think,
It works for him. I'll give him credit. You know, just like John, collecting weekly as well, right? I think people like hearing the hot takes sometimes.
oh
You
yeah,
know, how many times have we heard, there's reviewers out there that which just sound too positive. Like, there's no way you like the figure this much all the time. And I would argue maybe they just do. You know, even in my own videos that I've been doing on my own channel, I start to catch myself being like, wow, this is awesome. Wow, I really love this.
it's
Wow,
okay to
wow,
like
wow.
things.
And, right? And I start to kind of reel it back once I listen to myself and I go, okay, like that is pretty cool. But, look for some of those things too that are also feedback, right? And I think
Absolutely.
not necessarily negativity, but I think if you have a hot take, it could be interesting to listen to and hear
No
what it's all
doubt.
about.
And that's what's so cool about the community, right? Like we all have different takes. Eddie and John, are really good and really, devout in their beliefs. And so it's awesome to have, those perspectives. I think one stream, Eddie and I were agreeing on everything. And I'm like, damn, I'm kind of annoyed right now because he and I are in alignment. I kind of wanted to argue with him, but we were on the same page there. So let's see. H Green is saying, I need InArt to make more figures so people will sell their Star Wars figures to fund them. Then I scoop the leftovers. There's something to that actually. There's just so much, there's an oversaturation in the market that if anyone's, out there, and we talked about it in the last episode of the podcast, She Said No podcast with Gigi and myself. It's like Hot Toys really aren't, the investment that they maybe once were because there's just so much coming out. It's hard, you have a hard time selling most figures for even what you put into them. So definitely something to be aware of. But yeah, it could be a good way to scoop some figures at the low as more and more stuff comes in. Let's see. Mario saying that's a master strategy. Yep, actually, just being patient pays off a lot of the time. Let's see. Shane is saying he had nothing to do with me ordering the 2-pack single sculpted. Yeah, there was a lot of enablers out there. Gigi, if you're still on here, Shane, buy that ticket to Ireland, go after him. Riley, we had a lot of folks. Ben and I chatted a little bit about it. So it's great to have, other people in the same, and I'm going to use struggle, but very, very in jest, in the same struggle as you to like, should I get this? Should I not? So it's always great. Ben, maybe talk a little bit more about since you've ordered that 2-pack rooted Joker, how have you felt? Like, did you care about them reopening the window again, or what have been your thoughts on the company?
So I feel like we don't have the full story yet. I think that's part of the issue. I feel like somebody is not necessarily being honest. I don't think it's necessarily Queen Studios. I think what John was talking about there from the other day that he doesn't know. I think sometimes salespeople or people who are in the position of PR, they are probably purposely cut out of the loop sometimes, and so that they can truly honestly say, not to my knowledge,
That's a good
not from
point.
what I know. Right? It's not to say that meeting didn't happen. I think it's a little fishy that all these companies are saying that it was released, or opened up again by Queen, and that's the reason they had it. I think it's interesting because I heard John say that with statues, they've had that same problem in the past where they have release windows for statues. Secondary distributors will, buy a whole bunch of them and then resell them. And so he already knows that that's an issue. And so I think the issue with them having that 3-day window is that they should have been a little bit more clear that it's our 3-day window. It's not an everywhere 3-day window. And I think if they'd said that, I don't think anybody would have had the problem because people would have been like, yeah, it makes sense. The secondary just bought it up, and like his reasoning for it would be more palatable. But I think because they made it seem very exclusive, or like, this is it. If you don't buy it in these 3 days, you're toast. You're not going to get it. Go cry in the corner. Go pay on the secondary. Like, I think that's the problem. I think that they knew that would happen. I just don't think that they saw it as having the same level of backlash that it ended up having. Because again, they've experienced that with their statue game. They know that people do that. They know that secondary distributors are going to do that. They also talked a little bit about how, that was more of a China release, whereas I think when it comes to the States or Canada, they literally said they can't control that market. And so I think that they should have just come out with that as their PR statement right from the get-go. As I said, this is our release window. It's not a world release window. If you don't like our timeline, try and find it from one of the secondary distributors once they have it in their hands. And I think that whole issue would have just been kind of moot
But they made a lot of money off the ambiguity, right? Like by not saying
They did.
anything,
They did.
you know, I won't use the word force, but they kind of forced our hand to pre-order. So
And that's why I do feel a little butthurt by it, because I was in that same boat. I know I was talking to you. I think it was like 2:30 in the morning that night on the last night of the window, right? And it's like,
sorry, Shauna.
do we buy it? Do we not buy it? You know, like if I miss it, like I'm gonna have PTSD. Like the same thing happened to me with the DX11 Joker. Like, and I'm actively losing sleep because of thinking about a figure release window. Like that's a little crazy, right? But
It is.
but you're right. There was that pressure and the ambiguity. I can't even say it now. Ambiguity of that, I think, is a salty taste for folks. So I can see why people are upset. I can see why some people want to cancel. They never said that they were going to have a certain edition size, you know, and so, right, like, I mean, they literally said if they received 50,000 pre-orders, well, then I guess the release is 50,000. If it was more, great. If it's less, then it's less. I think places like X06 are doing a really good job with their Star Trek line for that type of exclusivity. They haven't numbered their releases. They haven't said that I don't think that there's a certain release count. But it feels to me like once X06 sells out, it's pretty much sold out across the board. I mean, even through the secondary distributors, it immediately is really hard to find some of those figures. And, you know, I missed the data from X06. I really wanted that figure. He's gone. He's just gone. And now if I try and find him on Evil Bay or something like that, it's like triple the cost.
Yeah.
And so it's the way she goes.
Absolutely. Well, so Shauna's in here saying criticism shows a sign of care. If I don't care, you wouldn't bother talking about it. Or if you didn't care, you wouldn't bother talking about it. Yeah, exactly right, Shauna. Absolutely right. Let's see. Shane is saying, I wouldn't care if Marty had no sunglasses. We have no need for sunglasses in Ireland. The sun is something we read about in the books. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
That's a depressing thought, but that's awesome. Mario saying, Ben, the blow dryer and comb treatment with Chewie is real, bro. Oh my goodness. You know,
I can you imagine Mario doing his beard and his Chewie all at the same time?
I really can actually.
We need a picture, Mario.
Yes, we do. I need that.
Picture her, it didn't happen.
All right, so bad fish. This is a lot of words here. You're going to put my reading skills to the test, but sorry, I meant I prefer sculpted 95% of the time is my preference, but 5% of the time it doesn't look good. Hybrid though does work really well sometimes also. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Let's see. 6 scale mafia. Let's make sure this is the real 6 scale mafia this time. But no, what's going on, Anthony? He said, strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Yeah, you know, we're not getting the whole story. I think this is alluding to the Rooted 2-pack Joker. But yeah, there's a, or is this a Back to the Future reference? I'm not sure actually.
It's not a Back to the Future
okay,
reference, but I do think it's. I think it's from another film though. I can't remember what the heck it's from.
Is it like Clerks or something?
Possibly.
Let's see.
I don't think they had Circle K's in the Back to the Future movie.
I didn't think so either. So. Let's see. H Green 1313. My display is trash. I desperately need to redo my lighting. You know, one recommendation if you don't want to go as expensive as the Hue lights, the really, really cheap LED strip lights, or what I use in my Billy bookcases. I think they're like between $10 to $15 for, you know, the full set. Really do wonders. Like folks come and compliment my lighting like, oh my gosh, is that professional? I'm like, no, literally it's just a strip of lights that's run, you know, inside of the door. So I think for pretty cheap, you can do some really cool stuff. So Mario said, wrong movie, Mafia. Okay, he almost got me there. I was like, Circle K and Back to the Future. I don't remember that one.
Mafia saying it's from Bill and Ted.
Oh, Bill and Ted. Oh, see, I'm not a Bill and Ted head, so there's a blind spot.
I knew it sounded familiar.
Yeah. Equan, all you need is Star Wars to put out a bad trilogy to scoop up some Hot Toys Star Wars deals. You know, if they blow it on this Obi-Wan series, I think Star Wars is going to be back to where they were kind of after Rise of Skywalker, right? Like right before. Well, you know, Mando was kind of concurrently going on with Rise of Skywalker, right? But. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they weren't in the best place there in terms of their movies, so that's completely right, Equan. Riley saying, Ben or Marco going to Star Wars Celebration. I'm not planning on Star Wars Celebration this year. We're going to Disney at the end of this month, but going to miss out this year, but really want to go for next year. What are your thoughts, Ben?
I would love to go. It's a little far for me from Canada. It's that's a whole trip, right? And so this year it's not in the cards, but definitely in future years, especially now that I'm doing a little bit more streaming with so many people in the community. I think it would be so much fun to get together with everybody in person, especially at something like Star Wars Celebration, right? So even
Absolutely.
Mario, I mean, he goes to the Disney all the time. Like I'd love to connect with him at some point out there as well, and go check out the Star Wars scene there. So lots of coolness. But no, not this year, unfortunately, Riley.
Yeah, no, but definitely something on the radar for next year. And yeah, looking forward to going to Disneyland with Mario. The moment I see him, I'm going to be like, let's go, and give him a big hug. And he's going to be, done with me within the first few seconds. So
Right? He can't mute you in person.
that's right. He will try, I'm sure. Shauna, you want to read this one from Shauna? Too many words for me, Ben.
She says, I found out about a few of Ben's Hot Toys orders through watching these shows. I should tune in more often. Hey now,
You're in
she
deep
only
water.
found out about the Marty. That's the only one that I've got currently coming. So, yes, but she did find out. I went upstairs after the one stream. She was like, so, you've got a Marty coming, do you?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
I incriminate myself
maybe,
pretty often on
maybe.
these, Ben. So, Shauna, yeah, more reason for you to join. But yeah, I can't keep anything a secret now at this point. You know what? Really quick, going back to Queen, some seamless arms on this guy would have been awesome,
Yes,
right? Like I'm kind of over
100%.
wrist pegs at this point. So give me more seamless arm options.
As long as they work well, though, right? Because they're talking about having the magnets at the base, so when you plug it in, it actually will magnetize in there. I'll be curious what that's like for articulation, though, because at least on a wrist peg, you actually have some physical movement in the peg that can hold a pose.
Yeah.
Whereas, I've had head sculpts like my DX12 Batman that has the magnet on the top, or some of the Darth Mauls that have the magnet in the head, and you can adjust it to a point, but there are some head positions with the magnet you just can't pull off because it's pulling it back, right? It's kind of fighting against itself. So I think in terms of it being on the shelf in a static pose, I think it's going to look really, really good with those forearms. But I'd be curious what articulation is going to be like. Are you going to be constantly disconnecting the arm out of the socket and be like, like I'm just trying to raise his arm, not pop his arm out, right? Like, what's
Yeah.
that magnet going to look like? Now, if the magnet's fantastic, I mean, if there's a good pull there, then might be really cool. And with figures like this that have that rolled up sleeve, yeah, the wrist peg is it's a little unsightly. And I'm curious about the articulation on this Marco, because you haven't moved him around all that much. Now I know it's your
Yeah.
figure, you got it in hand. I don't want you to break
No,
anything, but
this is a good one to talk about articulation. Actually, I think we're going to have no problems here when it comes to this because of the jegging material. It's going to be a very, very posable figure. So, kind of having him sit down in the DeLorean, he's going to be perfect to get in there. Yeah, the posability is not an issue at all on this guy. He's good to
it's always
go.
it's always the arms above the shoulder that I look for, right? Because
Yeah.
especially with clothing on, I mean, this is more of it, like you said, that kind of canvasy material. So there's a little more give there. Clearly, it looks like, because just in that pose that you've got him there, or pretty close to it, anyways. I mean, that's how I'd be holding the camcorder. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
right
yeah,
up beside
yeah.
his head, holding the
Yep.
camcorder, ready to go, and maybe his
Or
his
some
backpack over his
sunglasses.
arm, or his sunglasses if he picks them up. The wrist peg is a little ugly. I definitely get it. It looks like he's
Yeah.
about to get arrested. In
But
this
the
pose.
good thing is you'll have the watch for one of the wrist pegs, so that'll cover that up. So if you maybe do like a watch on, I forget if he wears it on his left. I think it is the left wrist, and you hide the right. You could kind of avoid that issue.
Mario says, I don't need to mute Marco in person. That's what GG is for.
That's a good point, Mario. Actually, oh,
100%.
let's see. So H Green is saying he was patiently waiting on Chirrut and ended up finding one for 350. So sometimes we're worth taking a look for older figures. Yeah, you could find some really good deals, especially when you're on the Facebook groups and the community. I have a hard time going back to older figures only because there's so much new stuff coming out that it's just like I got to focus on the future, and going back is just not a strategy that has worked for me. But there's just certain ones like the BVS Batman and Superman wasn't going to be able to get those at all. So I had to go on the secondary market. And you're right, if you're patient, you can find some good deals. I did find solid deals on both. So
You're not wrong. Every morning I wake up and I open my phone, there seems like there's a new figure. It's either Hot Toys or Queen or Exo 6. I mean, all of the, we were talking about this kind of backstage before we jumped on the show, but all of the X06 Star Trek figures that they're talking about this weekend and all these previews that I'm seeing, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna literally have to melt my wallet because I can't have everything that I've got in the back and everything that I want to come from Queen and Hot Toys and dive into the whole Star Trek line. But I've been a Star Trek head my whole life. So when I'm seeing figures like, Riker or Geordi LaForge or Data,
Jordy is one that I would for sure add.
dude, they have a Captain Picard Locutus now. I'm like, oh my goodness, like they are. Like there's so. I even saw they teased a Borg alcove, like a regeneration alcove.
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
is just insane. And so like there are so many things. Somebody, I can't remember who it was talking about figure fatigue last week, and it's not that I have fatigue. It's just that I have
Anxiety.
this anxiety of how could I even possibly justify getting everything I want? There's so many things, and I don't want to have a clustered display. I like having the single figure per shelf. I know Shane talks a lot about cultivating his collection, right? As one comes in, he finds one to take down potentially. But even that, like I can't justify having figures in my mechanical room unseen. So it's hard. It's hard. I want to know. I want to know from the community what's your advice on how you justify having so many that are so cool. But
Modu cases, I guess, at this point, at a certain point, I love the one per, but if you're going to really, dive in, that might be the only way to go. So
to get Modu cases to Canada, though, I'd be better off buying, an old school an Ecto 1 Ghostbusters vehicle instead. It would cost me about the same arm and leg.
Absolutely. Let's see. So 6L Mafia is saying, every retailer got the green lights to open them up from the main distributor after they were told by Queen to reopen. Notice how they all went live at the same time? Somebody's lying. I think you're totally right, Anthony. There's definitely something that's missing. I think, as Ben said earlier, we're just not getting the whole story. I do believe John, everything that he's told us. Obviously, he's a salesperson, but I really do have trust in him. And so I think what he's telling us is true, but you're right, Ben. They probably intentionally don't tell him everything, so he has that plausible deniability, I think is the legal term.
Or again, I think maybe they just didn't set the guy up for success very well. I think even John knew that there was going to be resellers that re-released the pre-order window. I think he knew for sure, just because, as I said, that's what they do with statues all the time. So there's no way you thought it was going to be any different than 1/6. I just think, like, I'm in sales myself. If I was trying to sell that concept to the community, that's what I would have said. Sorry, guys, we knew this could happen. This is our exclusive release. Thank you for anybody who gave us the sale. We recognize why people might want to still buy it from other distributors, though. So
Absolutely.
You're not going to miss your boat. You're not going to miss your chance. But with us, unfortunately, you missed the window.
Yeah. They could have done that, but they wouldn't have made as much money. And so, Mario's saying FOMO hit y'all hard. It's true, Mario, because I did tell you I'm going to get the single pack, and you did call me a bitch for doing so. So, no, I'm kidding. Mario would never, but he, he's a hype beast. He was just like, come on, you got to get the 2-pack rooted. And at the end of the day, no, I'm not going to blame anyone else for the decision that I made. I'm a grown man, and it's just what I wanted at the end of the day. It just took some calculus. Like, is it really worth it do I need 2 Jokers and then to end up with 3? Something went wrong, but let's see. Mafia saying, once we sell out, we sell out. Yeah, that was their messaging. So it's really, it is frustrating. Again, I'm trying to, put that in the past and excited for the figure. Hopefully they actually cut off all orders sometime soon so we can, they can get to producing and we can get these in our hands, hopefully around the time that they promised. So H Green is saying, the only time I'll go get 50 plus over retail is if it's a character that I have an attachment to. Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. The problem is, I know for myself and for Ben, as he was saying earlier, we just have attachment to so many figures and so many characters that you just can't get everything. So it's tough. Let's see. Oh, we're way behind here. Okay, so the Circle K was from Bill and Ted. Mario saying, is this the real Mafia? Yeah, I think it. Prove it. Let's see if he proved it. Let's see. All right, I'm going to skip past all of these.
I was talking about the Borg alcove. Mafia saying that it's actually 3 alcoves that connect together, and they're USB powered.
Oh,
which
really?
Is just like, oh my goodness.
Gosh. What is that? Did they announce any prices for that yet?
Not that I saw. I think it's just there. I think they're at a con right now of some sort, so they're just kind of showing those pre-release images. I could be wrong. I haven't seen any prices, but again, I woke up to seeing all these Star Trek figures this morning, and then had to go
That
have a
was your
cold shower
nightmare.
before yeah, I had to have a cold shower before I joined the stream. It was just ridiculous. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that that's not necessarily my thing, but I definitely had some Star Trek action figures when I was a kid. And Geordie LaForge from our boy on Reading Rainbow. Remind me
Reading
of the actor's name.
Rainbow.
Yeah, what is it?
LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton. He's so awesome that I would definitely add a LeVar just for that. So Mario saying, "Yo, I would love to see y'all for celebration. Someone in the community offered their 4-day passes if anyone is interested." Okay, so if anyone's looking for 4-day passes, hit Mario up. I think because of the timing with Disney, it just wouldn't work for me. But yeah, there you go. There's some out there on the table. So Riley's saying he's going to Disney next Thursday, probably going to buy the full year pass when I'm there. Oh, okay, Riley. Well, we'll definitely have to link up at Disney here soon. So yeah, and also I'll send you the dates if you got any availability. Come through and go when Gigi and I and Mario are going to be there. So okay, let's see. Mario said this, right? I don't need don't need to meet Marco in person. That's what Gigi's for. Exactly. Okay, Shane is saying, if the magnets are strong enough, it shouldn't be an issue. It has to hold heavier die-cast accessories, remember? Yeah. You want to talk a
That's
bit
actually
about
a
that
really
then?
good point. That is a really good point. I forgot that a lot of what Queen is releasing is die-cast accessories. Even the handcuffs that come with the special order, right? I mean, they're die-cast, and so the DX11, I think I showed you the handcuffs that came with him. They're very cool, but super light, super lightweight plastic. So yeah, that's a good point. If the magnets are strong, then I think that whole concern would just be completely gone. Before we get too far to the end of the stream, Marco, as well, I would love to see what this figure looks like next to another like single-bodied figure, if you can, if it's
When
easy
you mean
enough for you to pull another
single-bodied,
figure. Just
what's
like
that?
a regular person, like with either a Captain America or somebody
Oh,
that
okay.
just
Yeah.
just another figure. I'm curious how short he is, kind of like how do the
Okay.
sizes compare in the
Yeah.
collection.
Okay.
So
Oh, of course you would want to compare the sizes.
yeah,
No, joking. I'll grab Cap in here in just a second.
I want to
So
get
I'm
out the
gonna.
measuring stick.
Yeah. While I do that. So Mario's saying he wants his time to see when I get to this comment. It was 12:06. What time is it right now? I don't even have my phone in front of me.
It's 12:15, so you missed it
Okay, we're
just a
about
little bit,
nine.
Mario.
Yeah, we're
We're
about 9
close.
minutes behind. Okay. All right. Focus on. I see what you did there. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab another figure. Maybe you want to keep going down the comments from kind of that one. Maybe you can give us some room here to breathe.
100%. We also have Leonardo Hernandez in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Oh, jeez. Everything that Mafia is saying about the Star Trek releases, I'm so excited about. So, if you guys haven't already had a chance to tune into Six Scale Mafia, check out his content. It's really good. Same with everybody in this channel. Honestly, everybody on the chat right now is fantastic. Who else do we got here? H Green says, Badfish. No, I haven't picked them up, but always looking. 1 6-figure focus. I'm very happy I ordered 3. They don't arrive with this special one. Not sure what you're referring to, buddy. Sorry. Crazy. Oh, there we go. Well, that's an aggressive face for Captain America on that one.
Yeah, I really do like the angry sculpt on Cap. I know other people say that they don't see the likeness, but for me, it's spot on. So if this was like a real life comparison, if they were going back to back, Cap's probably got a good foot, if not more, on Marty. He's kind of towering over him, but Cap's
have
also
a-
wearing high heels, so there's
Yeah,
there's that.
for sure. I love that cap, honestly. That if like I've got the Endgame Captain America, I think if I was going to get any other cap, it would be 100% that figure. It's just
this is-
insane. It's too hard to find in Canada right now. The
Oh,
prices
really?
are
Okay.
insane. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
insane.
Interesting.
Sorry, one other quick question for you then, Marco. Do you have what's called a Tom Holland Spider-Man in your collection?
I do. So I have 2 of them. I've got the let's see. I'll pull. Well, try not to break everything down, but I've got the homemade suit that's right there, posed up, and you can see Pancake sleeping.
Oh, yeah,
And then I've also got the advanced suit. So I've got 2
bet-
Tom Hollands.
So would you say this Marty is kind of more comparable to a Tom Holland size?
Is it
body
advanced
then?
suit or upgraded suit? Sorry, before someone razzes me.
Sorry. The upgraded suit is the black and red.
There you go, upgraded suit. Okay, so what was your question again?
Would you say that he's comparable to Tom Holland's size? Because Tom Holland's Spider-Man is probably the shortest figure that I have in my collection.
Oh, got it. Oh, yeah, let's see that. Give me 1 second. Why don't you catch up on some more
Curious.
comments going from there here?
Cool. Badfish says, H Green, I am hoping to get them. Did you say that you did eventually, or you're still waiting? Um, Shane at 1 6 Figure Focus says, double pack rooted and single sculpted Queen Studios Joker. Sorry, I should have provided context. It was irrelevant 9 minutes ago. You're not wrong. I think, it's interesting. I was hoping that I'd be able to find somebody out there that might be willing to partner with me so that I could get, one of my rooted hair Jokers sold potentially and pick up like a sculpted hair, like do a bit of a figure trade. The only thing is I don't know, like I'm sure that the rooted hair is going to have more value down the line. So I don't know if anybody would actually want to do that trade. you might be losing value in your setup, right? I don't necessarily buy for value though. I buy to have cool stuff in my collection. So because I really kind of like the rooted sculpted Joker hair as well from Queen. So I don't know. We'll see. But okay, thanks for grabbing that, Marco. That's cool. That's a better representation.
So
and I wonder if ages of these like characters, I should say, the actors are comparable in these films. You know what I mean? Like is Tom Holland about the same age as Matthew Fox was in the Back to the Future in terms of age? I'm shocked at how tiny Marty is, actually.
Yeah, he's a little guy here, and maybe
really
he's designed to fit within the DeLorean. Maybe that was like a consideration. I don't recall when the original releases came out, but yeah, he's not tall at all. He's a very small figure. I know it might be hard since.
Does anybody in the chat have a height on Matthew Fox? Like how? Not Matthew Fox. What am I saying? That's
Michael J.
That's lost. Michael J. Fox. Does anybody have a height on him? I wonder, because I wonder how accurate that actually is in terms of 6 scale representation of the actor himself. Because like Tom Holland is a short guy, and my Tom Holland Spider-Man, he looks really short in comparison to the rest of them. But I typically display him with the Spider-Man mask on, so I'd be curious.
And Ben, you have that upgraded suit Spider-Man as well, right?
Yeah, that's the only Spider-Man I have so far. I've been waiting to pull the trigger on the classic suit that was released because I do love the classic look. I didn't love some of the bunching that I was seeing, so I've been kind of holding off. And I've seen some comments in the groups and stuff that the suit around the neck peg is a little bit bunchy. So it keeps kind of throwing me off a little bit. I think he would have to be a figure I'd have in just kind of that character museum pose.
Yeah.
Nothing too dynamic, right? So, but you could have him sitting there reading the newspaper at least or something, which is cool, and you not have to worry about suit bunching. So,
absolutely. I've been having some interesting, and I know I'm not alone with this, but on the sculpt, his hair is kind of starting to go gray. So yeah, it's under certain lights you can't really tell, but it's a bit annoying that that's happening. So I'm kind of thinking it looks like a really similar, paint application on Marty. So I wonder if you'd have that problem over time with this guy.
I wonder if anybody or any Etsy dealer, anybody is going to come out with some 1/6 scale underwear for this dude. I'm almost shocked that they haven't already.
Right. Let's see. So
it would have actually been a really funny add-on with this guy. Actually, considering if you could see that just under the lip. But
yeah, let's because he has the suspenders, I really can't get to the chonies down here. But
it's probably not a bad thing.
Yeah,
I don't want it on. We're not a rated R stream. It's a Saturday morning.
We are a rated R stream, but no, I'm kidding.
Bring it on after dark, and we'll derobe him.
That's right. Oh man! So Shane said he's got to go. Great background display, and active chat. Thanks for joining, Shane. Equan saying, "Yeah, I've only been posing the rooted Joker with the jacket." Why don't you read this one? Sorry, I've already messed it up.
Says, I hear you, Ben. I'm only posing the rooted Joker with the jacket. The other one is staying in the box. I don't part out anything. My Batman Armory Alfred is still in the box. Don't part out anything. And so I think what he's just kind of referring to what I was saying there in terms of, would anybody ever be out there willing to trade, right? If I gave one of my rooted hair Jokers out for a sculpted hair. But I agree with that as well. I mean, even if I had one Joker in the box, I think the cool thing about that 2-pack is at least it's a very different scene from the movie. right? So I could have the standing Joker, kind of that street look with the jacket on in maybe the back display, and I could have the sitting down Joker with the jail cell scene maybe here, kind of in front of the TV or in the lower cabinet here, right? And so I think, I think I'd probably display both if I get both. Well, when I get both, I should say. So.
Absolutely. No, I'm already thinking about, different display options here. I'm pretty much out of room, but I've got a few little areas where I think I might be able to sneak some more figures in. So I'm already thinking about how I can display that set and maybe have, 2 or 3 of them on display at a time. So, but I do want to I'm interested to see if Queen does, Christian Bale Batman. I'm sure they will. And so it'd be really nice to pair either the Hot Toys, DX. What's the DX that's coming up here? Is it DX19?
DX19, yeah. And I mean, the DX19 Bruce Wayne head sculpt looks really amazing. I cannot justify displaying Batman with Bruce Wayne's head sculpt, though. For me, if you're going to have Batman in your display, I want him with the cowl on. Mm-hmm. So that is a feature I would probably leave in the box. I've done a lot with my DX12 in terms of customization, so I'm not getting the DX19. I'd also be worried if I got the DX19, he would look overscaled in comparison to my DX11 Joker and my Hot Toys Bane. Especially with some of the new Banes that are coming out. I mean, those Banes are massive. They look really, really freaking cool, but, they would just dwarf. I think the DX19 would just dwarf them, which then wouldn't look good, and then you'd have to kind of upgrade everything. And that for me would almost feel like collecting backwards. In the sense of, like, I've already picked up Hot Toys representations of those guys. There's so many figures that are coming in the future that I want to go with next that I can probably skip on that line.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, yeah. So we're running up here at the 130 mark. I think that's where we wanted to keep it, so I can get you back to Shauna. Y'all can do the farmer's market and what you have to do today. But Ben, really appreciate you hopping on here. Everyone in the chat, thank you for the lively conversation. A little disappointed we didn't get to any bidet talk this time, but for the next unboxing, I guess.
Keep that in the back pocket.
That's right. So let me rate this guy, and then we will move on to talk about what's coming up on your channel and what you have going on. So I would say out of 10 pancakes, given that he's a pretty small figure, he's got the jeggings going on. He's just kind of a, bland overall, right? Like it's not a superhero figure, obviously. And before you have the DeLorean and the Doc, I think he's, probably going to be in one pose with the skateboard, and then that's kind of where he'll stay for a long time. So I would give this one probably 8.5 out of 10 pancakes. Like really, really solid release. Love all the accessories. Don't necessarily love Einstein, but he's solid. He'll do the trick. So I would say overall, 8.5 pancakes out of 10. The butt was disappointing, but what can you do? They can't all be winners. So yeah, it was overall very, very happy that I got this one, and excited to get the rest of the Back to the Future line. I will be skipping the part 3 figures because, just like you, Ben, I'm not really interested in that movie. 1 and 2 are such bangers for me. 3 was, disappointing, but I know a lot of folks love it, so glad they are giving us that option for the future as well.
In terms of likeness, I would actually say that the Marty from the Back to the Future 3 line there is still the best likeness, though, in terms of his face under the cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good. So even that has me kind of like, it's not my favorite of the movies. But we'll see how it goes. See how big that collection can grow over time, right? So
100%. So yeah. So Ben, when is your schedule to come in? Your Marty?
Next month. So as I said, I've had him on a pretty slow payment plan just because I've been working on other stuff, and we've, with summer coming up, we're trying to build a fence out in our backyard this year, which is insanely expensive to do. So, it's house stuff comes first, and life stuff comes first, and then figures come second, right? And so
there you go.
Kicked him down the line a little bit, but I know I'm going to get him, so I'm okay with that. So I'm willing to wait, and I'm living vicariously through your unboxing today, which has been cool. That'll help curb the appetite a little bit for a month. So
I did a payment plan on this one as well. So like I was telling you, I wasn't really ready to receive him and to pay my tax to Gigi when he was ready to ship. I was like, I'm just going to push this one down a little bit. So I really liked it because it was just nice to just pay. Okay, I'm just going to pay a little bit. That could be dangerous if you have too many kind of running concurrently, but for me, the strategy worked really well with this guy. So I really enjoy that strategy and glad you're utilizing that option. So yeah,
100%.
Excited for you to get it in hand.
100%. Yeah, no, I thanks for having me on for that. I definitely appreciate it. I'm excited to see what comes. And depending on how everything goes with the doc, as I said, I might be convinced. So
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Marty's going to be lonely without his doc, but I'm sure that, by the time that one releases, they may have already announced the part 2, versions of these guys. So who knows what Hot Toy's doing, but
100%.
yeah, so tell us what's coming on your channel. Excuse me, what's going to pop up on your channel, and what else you have going on in terms of live streams.
Yeah, so I've been really thankful for everybody who has already subscribed to the Ben Thomas Show on YouTube. I just hit 50 subscribers the other day, which seems like a small amount, but honestly, that first 100 subscribers is really hard to get to. So for everybody that's subscribed already, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please definitely do. I'm trying to hit that goal of 100, and
What's the name of your channel again, Ben?
Yeah, it's called the Ben Thomas Show. And so pretty easy to find me, and I've got my little logo there, so you'll be able to find it. Coming up, I've got about 11 videos on the channel now. I've taken a look at the DX11 Joker, the DX12 Batman, as well as some smaller scale figures. I just picked up the Riddler from McFarlane Toys the other day, and I did a quick review with him. And then yesterday I posted a video just about me, shooting the shit with you guys in terms of a pre-recorded live session, just talking about the Moon Knight figure and the show a little bit, and how I feel about lit eyes and stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep releasing content. I'm not trying to be famous by any stretch, but I really like being part of the community, and any comments or likes or subscribes definitely keep me motivated to keep pumping it out there. So and then tonight I've been fortunate to be invited to Pose Wars on Collecting Weekly. So if you guys have some time to kill tonight, definitely check out Pose Wars. It's going to be a good show, 100%. I haven't decided who I'm going to pose yet.
Oh, I was just going to ask. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to not break any of my figures. And the last time I did with the Green Ranger, he was pulling pretty tight, so I'm a little nervous. So we'll see how that goes. And then coming up off my channel, I'll be joining you, Marco, on Tuesday night shows over at Collecting Weekly. So
let's go.
Become a little bit more of a regular over there with those guys, because they're super fun to talk with, and get to see everybody in the chat again and shoot the shit. So as I said, Pose Wars tonight, Collecting Weekly Tuesday night show. I'll definitely be there for that. And if you haven't already, check out the Ben Thomas Show.
Heck yeah. So the Ben Thomas Show on YouTube. Do you have an Instagram as well, Ben?
I do, and you can find me at the same handle. So the Ben Thomas Show. So trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody. On there, I usually kind of post everything, whether it's stuff that's going on with Shauna and my life in the house, but also figure related stuff and posts. And that's usually where you'll see some of my updates on videos that are upcoming and stuff like that. So keep you informed, get you be first viewers. So
awesome. So Badfish is saying good vibes. Yeah, Ben, thank you so much for joining. This was a lot of fun to chat with you about everything under the sun, but specifically Back to the Future. And yeah, we'll have to collaborate on more stuff more often. I'll try to put your information in the the description of this video. So cool. Really a pleasure to have you on here. And let me take care of a few more questions before we hop off. Let's see. There was one here. So Badfish was asking, was the Tom Holland sculpt going gray? Yeah, so he was getting some gray streaks in his hair, which I'm just assuming is the paint kind of deteriorating. So it was a bummer to see, but again, under certain lighting, you can't really tell, but it was a little bit obnoxious. Yeah. Because that sculpt is so beautiful that it's like, haven't had it for too long and already having issues is not the best. H Green was saying, by the way, thanks for following his Instagram of his toy photography. Yes, go check out H Green's Instagram account. Really good stuff on there. So yeah, love to support our community here. And on that note, Mark P saying some Banes are coming your way tonight, Ben. So looking forward to watching you on Pose Wars tonight and seeing you struggle. Don't break anything, please.
Right, I was sweating, trying to pose the guy, Good
exactly. I guess I'll just say, on our channel, Gigi and I have a pretty busy month, so we probably won't have too many appearances of her, but we're going to try to pre-record one more episode of the She Said No podcast before the end of the month, maybe talk about some of our prep before we go to Disneyland, some of our, budgeting. We have done an episode previously on Disneyland, so if you haven't checked that out already, I think it's episode 4 of the She Said No podcast. No video on that one. It was kind of, right when we were first getting started. I mean, we still are, but it was a really fun episode, and we talk about, our strategy for how we kind of do Disneyland overall. Ooh, love to see it, Ben. Love to see it. So that's
Just got it
upcoming.
yesterday. I was pretty stoked. Sorry to interrupt.
That's it. No, not at all. That's a great placement of that. And so if I get anything else in, we'll do some live unboxings as well, and try to sneak in some more content. In the month of May, we will be revisiting, these interviews that we've had, and we'll, have a lot of really awesome guests upcoming. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please, go take a look, go subscribe, like this video, subscribe to Ben Thomas, and thank you all for joining today. So O'Reilly's saying, you're going to splurge at Disneyland, bro. Yeah, I've already been looking at some of those sabers, so it's going to be, it's going to be an expensive trip for sure.
I was just going to say, I might talk to you offline about that too.
Okay.
It's going to be a long time before I can go to Disney. It might be something I hit you up for.
Sounds good. Yeah, no, we can, and I do plan to do some, some live streams. I know Eddie and I have talked about doing some vlogs out there, so we're definitely gonna link up when we're out there. Yeah, so a lot of good content coming our way on the channel, and I think with that, I'll reiterate 8.5 out of 10 pancakes for Marty and Einstein. So really good release. If you're on the fence about it, I would say, pick it up since it's an exclusive. I don't know how much longer it'll be around, but definitely one to get, I would say. Let's see, Mario's saying, no, he's not. Gigi won't let him. Dang, you hate to see it. Thank you all for joining today. And with that, Ben, I'm going to let you lead us out, and then I'm going to play the outro video. So, if you want to do your...
I don't sound nearly as good as Gigi when she does
No one does, though. No one does.
Are you guys ready for it? Bye.